Hey, welcome back to Two Doctors Homestead. My name's Daniel, and this is Prepper Pantry Pick of the Week. Thank you for joining us. So, if those that are new, we do the Prepper Pantry every week, and what we do is we take you with us shopping, and we pick out items and talk about how they fit into a long-term food storage pantry. And some fit in better than others, right? We look at cost per calorie, shelf life, and then what kind of nutritional value you would get. We use numbers like 1,500 calories a day or 2,000 calories a day to calculate exactly how many days food. Like you look at this container, we're going to talk about how many days food actually is this. If you were trapped in your house, if it was Shtf, something horrible happened, what do you got? How long can you live on this before you starve to death? So 1,500 calories a day is generally the number we use to stay above the starvation level. 2,000 calories a day is considered the daily average, and those are government numbers. Those may or may not apply to you, right? We can't capture everyone. We're going to talk about the best by date on the package and then what you might expect for actual shelf life. And once again, whenever you're eating foods past the best by date, you got to use your best judgment. So I wanted to get that out of the way first. And since it's that time of the year, we want to talk about hot cocoa. Let's say you got this hot cocoa, you got the stuff to make hot cocoa, and maybe that's all you've got. We got our hot cocoa here, we have our non-fat dry milk, and of course we have a nice little bag of sugar, right? Get my stuff granulated sugar. So I want to talk about what's in each of these, how many calories you have, how long you could live off these three items, and what that would cost you per day. So first is the Hershey's cocoa. This was $4.44. It's 16 ounces of cocoa, 91 servings per container, 10 calories per serving, for a total of 910 calories in the container. So this is 910 calories worth of cocoa. The shelf life is early 2025 on the package, which is about 18 months from now. When you look online, you look at the shelf life of cocoa, it's probably closer to 3 years plus, right? So if you've got expired cocoa, use your best judgment. Does it smell good? Does it taste good? But it's probably going to last longer than the best by date. So first item we're going to hit is our Hershey's cocoa, right? $4.44. Next item I want to hit on is the granulated sugar. Certainly everyone loves a little granulated sugar. This was $3.24. It's a 4-pound bag. It's got 220 servings per container, 30 calories per serving, for a whopping total of 6,180 calories in the container. So the shelf life best by date is 2026. Sugar is a preservative. It's self-preserving, antimicrobial, so you're probably talking somewhere in the forever-ish range. Should last a very long time as long as you take care of it. You don't want to getting wet and dirty and all that kind of stuff. So second thing you have is your sugar. We're making our holiday hot cocoa here, and then the last item we went with is the instant non-fat dry milk. So this was $3.43 for 9.6 ounces of dry milk, 12 servings per container, 960 calories total. So 12 servings and 80 calories per serving. So the shelf life on dry milk on here is late 2025 is the best by date, which is about 2 years from where we're at now. You look online and they say 2 to 10 years, if not longer, for instant dry milk, as long as you keep the package closed and take care of it, right? You don't want to overheat it or anything like that. Cool, dry place is generally what is observed. Now, looking at the ingredients, if we're going to make our cocoa, we've got our homemade vanilla. You can make your own vanilla extract. I'm not sharing my secret recipe here, but if you're going to make your own vanilla extract, certainly you can, or you can buy some. That's one of the items on the ingredient list. I'm not calculating that into our totals here. So what have you got? So if all you had was your cocoa mix, your bag of sugar, and your instant milk, you would have a total of 8,050 calories between the three. Most of it comes from the sugar, and that would cost you $11.11. So if you had to live on that, if that's all you had were these three items, if you were doing the 1,500 calorie a day diet, which is to stay above the starvation level, you'd have about 5.3 days worth of food at a total of $2.09 a day. If you pushed it to 2,000 calories a day, you'd be more like 4 days worth of food at $2.70 a day, which also isn't that bad, right? $2.77. It's not the cheapest. I mean, if you just lived on the sugar, it would be a lot less, but we're making cocoa. We're living on cocoa right now, because in this hypothetical scenario, that's all you got. These 3 items, you still have 5 days. It's a 5-day food supply for, what do we say, $11, right? So you look at 72-hour kits and that kind of stuff, they're probably overpriced compared to things you can just get off the shelf. So if you did consume the entire container of cocoa, the bag of sugar, and all the dry milk, you would have beyond the 8,050 calories total, you would be getting 45.5 grams of fat, 1,603 grams of carbs, 60 milligrams of cholesterol, 1,500 milligrams of sodium, 96 grams of protein, and some additional nutritional stuff like iron, calcium, potassium, vitamin A, vitamin D, and they're all gluten-free, right? There's only 3 ingredients here: sugar, cocoa, and milk. Gluten is wheat. So I tried to look at the ratio. There is a recipe on the back of the cocoa container that's a 1/2 cup sugar, and this is for 6 servings of cocoa, a 1/4 cup of Hershey's cocoa, and you got 4 cups of milk and a 1/3 cup of hot water. So if we just went with the 3 containers, it would be a little bit off. So this cocoa, if I did the math right, I was having a hard time for some reason, this is 136 servings. So it's not the servings per container at 91. It's a 1/4 cup of cocoa makes 6 servings of cocoa, hot cocoa. So this is enough to make 136 cups of hot cocoa, or servings of hot cocoa. This is only 113 servings, so if we were going to balance it out and follow the recipe, you'd actually need more than 4 pounds of sugar, right? So we're a little light on the sugar if our goal was 136 servings of hot cocoa. And then the milk, unfortunately, this is only worth 18 servings. So the serving recipe said 4 cups of milk. So this gets you 1 cup is a 1/3 cup, 12 servings per container, so 12 servings only gets you a 1/3 cup. So you would get 18 servings, because that was to make 6 servings, right? That was the recipes to make 6 servings. So it's a lot of, the math got a little tricky, but this would get you 18 servings of cocoa. This would just be enough for 113 servings of cocoa. And then this was enough for 136 servings of hot cocoa. So it's a little bit off, but hey, if you had to live on that, if you were going to survive only on hot cocoa, which is possible, right? It's calories, you're not going to die. I'm not saying it's healthy. I'm not recommending you do that, but if we had an Shtf scenario and this is all you had in your cabinet, and you could say you had about 5 days worth of food, which is not horrible, right? It's a 5-day food supply. Pack of cocoa, some sugar, some milk, maybe mix in some extract. You're going to be a little light on the milk, right? If you were going to try to mix it out and actually make that much hot cocoa, you'd probably go heavier on the water. So I hope that helps out, guys. You know, any of these items has a place in your long-term food storage pantry. I know some people got upset when we were looking at candy and stuff over Halloween. We're getting into December here. We're going to try to hit on some December relevant type items and just talk about it. Does sugar have a place in your pantry? Sure, of course it does. Not only is it a preservative, it has an extreme shelf life, it's low cost, and has a lot of calories, right? You do need calories to survive, and I know there's a lot of zero carb, low carb diets out there like keto and that kind of thing, and certainly if you're doing keto, sugar doesn't mix with that. But in terms of if you're in a situation where you're just trying to stay alive, sugar, cocoa, let's do it, right? Is it better than rice and beans? Well, it's not as cheap as rice and beans, but it's not a bad idea. And once again, not saying you should live entirely on cocoa, but if you had to live on hot cocoa, you got these 3 things, you're going to be good, probably for a couple days. So as always, guys, I hope that helps out, and we appreciate you.